25002445, as well as 25002507. This is the people of the state of Michigan versus Jade King Griffin.
Your Honor, Jeffrey Green is on behalf of the people.
Morning, Your Honor, Mercy Supreme Judge Griffin is present and standing to approaching to my left.
All right, today is the date and time that we've scheduled for the motion filed by defense counsel seeking to withdraw. I don't know that we received a written response from the people, so I'm not sure if they're taking a position, but what would you like to place on the record in support of your motion?
Judge, just that there's been a pretty significant breakdown in the attorney position with the motion.
Okay, are the people taking a position on the record?
No.
And your client's obviously been advised of your motion.
Yes.
And ma'am, can I have you come to the podium and state your name?
Jade King Griffin.
All right. Are you still using your mailing address on 16th Street?
Yes.
This was a case, originally there was a court-appointed attorney that I could see on the file. Mr. Davis, did you file an appearance as a retained attorney then?
I did, Your Honor.
And what is your client's plan for seeking and retaining counsel? She has an exam that's set for next week.
I'm not sure.
You understand what your attorney is requesting today?
Yes. So following the day after our last court date, which had been the 31st, me and Attorney Davis, he asked me to come to his office about an hour before the scheduled court date, and we spoke about the preliminary exam. However, upon coming into the preliminary exam, there were no witnesses to come forward for the prosecutor, and so it had not been explained because the preliminary exam form had not been signed. So we were still planning to attend the preliminary exam. However, it had not been disclosed to me. I also, when I met with him at his office, it had not been disclosed that the prosecutor called off all witnesses to come here based on a conversation that they had, although there was no signed preliminary exam waiver form. And so I didn't feel that that day when we were here in court that my best interest was represented. So I did speak with Attorney Davis about that, and then the motion had been filed, although the 21st had been scheduled for our court appearance, which is next week.
Okay, so if I grant the motion that your attorney has filed, there's still a preliminary examination date scheduled for next week, in which the witnesses would be required to appear so that you could have your preliminary examination. I'm assuming you still want to be represented by an attorney. However, if he is allowed to withdraw, I need to know what your plan would be for representation.
Yes, I am currently unemployed, and so I did pay $5,000 to Attorney Davis for representation. So that I can get the proper representation, I did request a refund of that $5,000, or if he could negotiate with me with that, because I would need to retain a new attorney.
Originally, you had made a request to the magistrate that you believed you would be eligible for court-appointed counsel, and an attorney was actually appointed to represent you. However, then you retained an attorney. So moving forward, the court's assumption would be that you would continue to have the means to retain an attorney. Is that correct?
No, I do not. And so that's why I have been requesting the refund. My attorney, based on what happened prior to the preliminary exam and what happened, we were here at the podium. There were a few things being communicated to me while here at the podium that were not communicated to me in advance. This is a new process. I didn't know what to do when we got out to the court. We had like a whole hour and 30 minutes for the preliminary. When we stepped out of the courtroom to discuss matters, that was the end of it. It was not, let's go back in here, let's negotiate some things, perhaps with the prosecutor, speak further with the judge. There were just a lot of things that happened at random here at the podium. And so with that, because of how things happened, I didn't feel that I was being represented in my best interest, which is why I was requesting the refund from Attorney Davis.
So at this point, are you asking the court to seek out from the circuit court another appointment for an attorney to be prepared to represent you?
ultimately, I would need a new attorney representation in order for me to do that. I am requesting a refund so that I can retain.
Well, that's not something that the court is not involved in at all. I need to know how you would be ready to proceed on this case. Because you're previously approved for a court-appointed attorney, although circumstances must have changed if you were able to hire your own retained attorney, I don't want the case to be delayed further while you figure out the current financial situation that you're in. So I'm going to grant the motion to withdraw so that Mr.
If I could
Davis
say
is.
something, I did disclose to Attorney Davis that if I could not get the refund, that I would need him to stay on the case.
Well, I'm granting his motion today, so that's not part of the conversation. So
Well, the refund was also a part of the conversation that we had.
that's between you and Mr. Davis. At this point, the only issue before the court is whether or not there's been a breakdown in the attorney-client relationship that would support his request to withdraw. And between what he's placed on the record and what you have just added to the record, I think that there's a basis to find that there's been a breakdown and that I could not expect that the two of you would be able to work together so this case can proceed. So I'm granting the motion so he can withdraw. He's no longer on the case. He's no longer responding to anything that the court would expect in terms of representation. I know that you originally had an attorney that you had been appointed to represent you. So I will renew that request to the circuit court so that they can make another appointment for you. Anything outside of that is not for this court to interfere with or weigh in on or order. So next week, we will change the court date that you have, which is set for exam, to another probable cause conference, because there's going to be a brand new attorney that will need to obtain the discovery from the prosecutor, be brought up to speed, and then speak with you about your right to have an exam so that you can make an informed decision about how you would like to proceed. So we'll keep the date that's currently on the docket, but I'm going to change it to an exam. So there's to a PCC. So there's no pressure for a new attorney that will now be appointed to have to proceed to that hearing with less than a week's notice. Okay, so they will make the appointment from circuit court based on our request. I think it's reasonable because at some point you had represented that you were unable to pay. And then on the record today, you've also indicated that your financial situation may also make it difficult to retain an attorney of your own choosing. So this will be for your benefit to ensure that you have representation, and an appointment will be made by the circuit court so that you can appear here next week, not for an exam with all of the witnesses, but for a PCC so the new attorney can be sure that they have all of the discovery and that they can speak with you about your right to an exam so that you can make an informed decision about whether or not you would like to schedule one. Okay?
I do understand that.
Okay, I think that's it for today.
Primarily what I was looking for today was that the prospect of getting a refund, considering what happened prior to the preliminary.
I am absolutely in no position to order anything regarding this contract that you have with Mr. Davis. So that is a separate issue, and the court is not in a position to make any decisions about that. And I believe that I've made that abundantly clear at this point. We'll see you next week for a PCC. The court will request that the circuit court judge that's going to hear the case, if it goes up to circuit court, makes an appointment for a new attorney to represent you. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
If I could just ask.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. This hearing is done for today. Thank you.